right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Gulls Nest. Of course, I am Odd84, and as always, Mr. Baseball himself, Adam Danger Power. Yeah, Adam Danger Power. Adam the Mallett. Still hurting from this weekend. I'm still slow. But yes, the Gulls Nest here.
Your audio's been very shaky.
Yeah, I think I get you back. Yeah. NECBL champion Gulls. How do you like that?
You're skipping around a little bit, your audio on my end, but
I think you're good. I got you.
there you go. I got you now.
You
okay, yeah, I was skipping for a little bit there. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, the Newport Gulls, NECBL champions. How do you like those?
That's right. I think that's phenomenal. Maybe we'll get a ring.
Back to back. I know, right? It was a tough run.
It was.
They did, they only lost two. Was it? They only lost one game in the entire playoffs, which is pretty
good. It was no cakewalk. Things did not start off good. So it's nice to see them persevere.
Yeah.
We'll definitely
absolutely.
Go this.
Yeah, let's talk about game one against the Stanford Maynards, where they did lose 7-1. Here we go.
Yeah, so they did not start off well. Coleman, who I feel like we have to go through the numbers. I feel like next episode when we start going through our season analysis of players and picking which ones were the standouts, maybe do that next episode. But I feel like Aiden Coleman, did he come out, if memory serves me correctly, he came out like pretty strong to start the season, if I remember. But the start, I feel like we've seen a little bit of diminishing here. But he 4 1/3, 6 hits. He's lucky he only allowed two earned runs out of 6 hits. And then DeLuca came in and 2 2/3, 6 hits, 5 runs, which is where everything kind of fell apart. And then Olsich came in for only 2 innings, no runs though. So he kind of, I wouldn't say kept him in it, but we'll say he stopped the bleeding. On the other side, though, Ball, 7 innings pitched, no runs allowed, 5 strikeouts. He just didn't. He was a brick. He was a wall. Just couldn't get past him. Couldn't knock him down. And then Douglas comes in, 2 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts, and that's the 7-1. You know what I mean? And it's like good pitching beats good hitting, and that's exactly what they got here.
Yeah, Ball came out hot. It was his game to win. The Gulls offense was not there at all. Looking at the numbers right now, the usual suspects didn't really do much at all. See, Breeny had 2 hits. Williams had a hit, and Seymour had a couple hits, and and Doyle had a couple hits. That was about it. The only one to actually score a run was Osford, who pinched hit. So I think he probably got on with a hit by Seymour or something of the sort. But I mean, looking at the numbers, they're terrible. I mean, they showed
2 errors too.
And they were playing. See, they were playing. Were they away for that game? I think they were, right?
Yeah,
no, they were home.
Yeah.
So I get it. You play back-to-back games. You're playing like all, for a week and a half, pretty much straight for the playoffs. Best of 3 game series, and it's a tough run, especially the Maine to Rhode Island distance. Of course, is a little bit to travel by, but yeah, they came into that first game of the championship very cold, and it's a good thing that they are 3 game series, because otherwise this would have not finished well for the Gulls at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a power outage, I feel like, there too. When you have 7 hits, I feel like you should have 2 or 3 runs. Usually when you see 7 hits, that's usually what you see. And they had 1 run, 2 errors, which I'm assuming is what kind of really hurt them too. You just can't do that in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm sure the 2 errors weren't exactly helpful for the helpful for the Gulls, very helpful for the Maynards, I would say, on that situation. But to the next couple games, they had a bounce back, and it wasn't easy. And I'll tell you why. So they started a game that was on the 7th. The 8th, they start the game, and let's see. Here we go, right there. They get stopped because of rain.
Yeah.
So they go up to Maine, they play the game, and game gets called for the rain. So they had to It actually probably worked for their advantage because they were able to bring this game. They finished this game back home. Oh, did they? Hold on. Were
No,
they
it's a
only
doubleheader.
playing?
This is wait. Oh, one. I don't know what the field they played on, but one team, wherever field they played on, one team was the home team, and the other team was the away team, and then they switched it. It was because it was a doubleheader, right?
Yeah. So they were up in Maine when this happened. Yeah. So yeah, they had to finish the game on. They started the game, then had to finish the game the next day and play both games on that same day.
Okay,
So they
I will
must have to be
say.
done by a
Sorry.
certain time. You know what I mean? That must be one of those things. They have to be complete by the season by a certain time.
I will say this too. At least both games were a full 9 innings because we've seen how they do doubleheaders in the regular season. They don't do a full nine, and this being the playoffs, I feel like yeah, you better do a full nine, and they did.
Oh,
But that must
absolutely.
be
Yeah.
so taxing, you know?
Right. Let's see. All right. So let's talk about the pitching for that game two. Yeah, they won 7-3. A lot of errors in this
Yeah,
game. Holy cow.
yeah. Cole Cheatham though, actually, sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, but Cheatham is how I would pronounce it. But I feel like everybody, I mean, 4 innings for this team, I feel like is a solid, or I feel like for this league, 4 innings. If you can go 4 innings, it's a pretty solid outing. And he went 4 innings, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, 3 hits. So pretty solid. And then the chip comes in and holds it down. The chip under
Yeah.
pressure doesn't go stale, right? 4 2/3, right? 1 earned run, 9 Ks, and then 2 walks. You can't ask for much of a better outing here. You know, only allowing 3 runs total, and on the flip side, they just looks like they just hammered it here. They hammered it enough anyway. You know what I mean? With
The,
7 runs, but how many of them earned? Only 2 of them were earned out of all those runs.
yeah. The chip didn't crack,
Nope,
and
we'll
the
go stale.
pitching stayed consistent.
Yeah.
Well, you can look at that rate. Yeah. So you said so. We have
Like their pitching wasn't bad. The opposing team's pitching
no.
was not bad at all. It's just it was the errors. They had 3 errors, and you could tell that they were very costly here.
Yeah. Just looking at the box scores right now, we got Breeny got a hit. Duncan got a couple hits.
Oof.
Couple runs too. Let's see. Williams was cold this game at 5 at-bats and a strikeout. Nothing going on for him. Cold so in the playoffs at the end of the run here, but yeah, Minute comes in. He had a run and 2 hits, 2 RBIs.
Yeah.
Stevens, the old go-to, he had a run and a walk. And what else we got here? Seymour also a run and a walk, couple RBIs, and a guy we haven't seen much of, Musa Chia, catcher. I'm
Touch
sorry,
ya.
the second baseman. 2 hits and an RBI and a strikeout. So the bats did come alive. I granted they started this game, played a couple innings, and they had to finish the game the next day, which isn't necessarily easy enough to do.
Yeah.
But at least in a sense, it was kind of like a reset. I don't have the full box score to see how the breakdown was, but
I will
you could see.
say, if you look at the other side of the plate, the bats, look at Davis. I mean, you and I could have done that. 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. Oof. Yeah, I mean, that's bad. That sucks. I feel bad for him. It must have been a bad day.
Yeah,
Batting the
that's
other team, Davis. Oof.
right. Well, I mean, yeah, 4 strikeouts. You're swinging. You're trying to make something happen in that game, and it's just nothing. Nothing was falling through for you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I guess you could play the game with the notation in the back of your head that you have to play at least one more game. So even if you lose, you still get another chance, especially being a doubleheader. So maybe you're not giving it your all for game two because you got to go out there for another 9 innings immediately after. So, like, for example, this game two started game 3 started at 6:36. Game 2 finished off. They started at 4 o'clock. They played for an hour and a half. They started 5:18 was the end of game 2 the next day, and they were back on the field like an hour later to play another 9 innings. So that day they probably I don't know how many innings they played on the second day. I think they played like half a game, so they probably had about a good game and a half. But we'll tell you what happened in game 3. They had to play more innings. It wasn't just an easy walk. It was both teams wanted this game bad, and it went right down to the end. It went right down to a walk-off by the Gulls to complete this game. So let's go into the box scores here. The stats for these.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing because it looks like Newport comes out 1-0 lead. Sanford hits back at 2-1, and then all of a sudden Newport puts up 5 runs in the fourth. But Shatwell, 6 innings pitched, 9 hits. He lost 9 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. So his command was there when he needed it. 4 runs, 6 innings. It's not horrible, I feel like, especially for this league. And then Kavala comes in and 1 1/3, and he kind of like lets them right back into it with 3 runs, 2 strikeouts. But then Holt comes in. I don't know what happened. Maybe he only faced one batter because he doesn't have a line. 0-0,
Right.
just zeros across the board. But DeLuca comes in, who has struggled a little bit here and there, but he holds the fort down. We've seen guys here lately, I noticed in the playoffs, who maybe have struggled a little bit at times, but they come in and they've been getting the job done. And DeLuca held it up, 2 1/3, 2 hits, no runs, 3 strikeouts and a walk, and it was enough. It was just enough to get the job done.
Yeah, he had enough to push him over the edge of this game. You got to figure it's the last game, the last potential game of the season. You're throwing it all out there. You're putting it all on the line. This is it. It's all or never. You're gonna win. You're gonna lose. You're going back to school in a couple days.
The pitching on the other side, and Robinson come in after Ellison threw 4 innings pitched and allowed five earned runs, and then Robinson holds the fort down. He had 4 innings, no runs, 6 strikeouts. You couldn't really ask for a better stat line. And unfortunately, though, it wasn't good enough. And like you said, the Gulls just battled back with their bats, even though they were out hit. Sanford out hit them like crazy.
Yeah, and it looked like also they were kind of dumping the pitchers this game because they were like, this is it. We're throwing it all out there.
Yeah.
Because they a lot of times they wouldn't play these guys back to back games like this in the regular season. But it is what it is. One goal is to win this game, and they battled back and they did pretty strongly here. So Greeny, slow finals here for him. He had 4 bats, just 1 run and a strikeout. Our usual guys that were really, really hitting, their bats cooled down significantly in this, I guess you would call it the World Series, the finals, whatever you want to call it. Championship game, if you will.
You did not too hard.
Yeah, you just did not see the production that you had had throughout the regular season. I get it, it's the end of the season too. It's getting so you're tired, it's late. You've been playing games every single night. They're meaningful games every single night,
Yeah.
Williams when you look at and you look at the errors. The errors, I mean, a lot of errors in the last 3 games, right?
Yeah.
And that just becomes that's gotta be fatigue too. It's just like I don't know. We're gonna go over this. We'll go over the season next week. We'll go over we'll pick our MVP for batting and our MVP for offense on the Gulls after looking at the stats. But if I would have to give one for the finals, just off the bat right now for the Gulls, it would have to have been DeLuca coming back, maybe closing the game down, or actually Hulk, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll pull through some statistics. And see
batting wise, nothing really popped out. I mean, we'll go over the playoff bat, but it was a hell of a season. It came right down to the end, right to the 10th inning. Couldn't ask for anything more.
No,
for a nice conclusion to a season, like a walk-off win to win the game.
Yeah, you can get your championship merch now on the Gulls website right now if you want it.
I've seen that they wasted very little time to get that up there. So that was Saturday night. They won the championship. I'm sure they had a hell of a time later on in Newport that day. I'm sure it was It was sure. Actually, they were up in no, they were in Newport. Yeah, they finished the game. So they played the rest of game 2 in Newport, and then they played game 3 in Newport. It was kind of a disadvantage for the Mainers, but I mean, what else are you gonna do? You know what I mean? You have to get the games in.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is funny because actually they took a couple of days off because game 1 was on the 7th, which was on Wednesday. Remember we were talking about that, and then they played game 2 and 3 on Saturday. So they had a couple days to kind of relax a little bit and kind of collect their thoughts, if you will, for the rest of the season.
True.
But takeaways from the season. What do you think? What do you, off the top of your head, before we get into statistics and everything like that, how did you think the Gulls prevailed?
I was a little bit, I I wouldn't say like I honestly the Maynards were just kicking so much ass throughout the season that I was like at the I assumed the Gulls would get to the finals. I wasn't so sure that they would take it because of all the sort of pitching and error issues that they've sort of had, but they've always found ways to battle back. So I figured, there was a chance they could take it. Yeah, that's kind of my takeaway from it. I was kind of on the fence, wasn't sure, but I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I'm not shocked at all that they won the championship. I mean, they're a great team and they're built well, you know.
Yeah, and I think overall they had a good season, and yeah, like you to like tap onto what you said a little bit. I think throughout the entire season, their downfall had been errors committed during games that either set them back a little bit or made games closer than they were supposed to, and it was tolling on the pitchers who had to deal with that because you essentially go out there and you think you get a nice little easy inning, and now
Yeah.
this easy inning just gets extended because of errors and runs get scored, and it's just not mindset. If you're playing a month and a half straight baseball to kind of get your rhythm down, if something like that's happened. I think so. I think
Yeah.
that's probably one of the other things. But you got to get understand these guys never played with each other before, so they're still figuring out. They didn't have a practice. They just pretty much met up one day and they were like, "All right, we're starting the season." You
Yeah.
know,
Very
so
clutch. Very clutch. I'll say that. Coming through when they
yes,
needed to, for sure.
I agree, and they had some really good bats too. Like we talked about the usual suspects all season long, like Breeny and Williams, Stevens, all those guys, the tortoise and the hare. These are all guys that pretty much were consistent throughout the entire season hitting. And when we break down their averages and all that stuff next episode, we'll have a better understanding on how everything added up at the end for the season,
Yeah.
But hell of a season. Nice to see him get now are they're 7-time champion. They changed that real quick on the website too.
I know it's almost like they had the graphics ready, cocky.
Right. But yeah, it's a nice way to end the season. They had the All-Star. We started this podcast back in February when they were talking about the Hall of Fame, going into all that stuff for the team for this year. We talked to the coach when the season started. I'd like to get him back on now that we have a win, maybe in a few weeks, to get his perspective on how the season went and how he think it went. And maybe
is he really retired? We'll find if he's really hanging it up this time, or is he coming back?
Yeah, because last year was supposed to be his last season. Then he kind of just last minute came back. So
he did.
Seven-time champion. They have the most championships for the NECBL, right? I would imagine.
I
think
believe
that's
so,
the
yeah.
case.
Mhm.
And now it's a long off season. Now we have to wait until next June. They have 10 months off till the season starts again.
I wish I get 10 months off.
That'd be nice. I'd be curious to see who comes back next year.
I would have to go through their ages. It's tough to. This is our first year doing this, so I mean, we don't know who's been back since the previous season.
Yeah, we didn't really have a good idea of who came back, did we?
No,
from last season, right? We didn't really have any idea. Yeah,
Mhm.
but from the season beforehand, it was kind of unclear of who was returning, who was not for the season. So, yeah, next year we'll go through the roster. We'll recognize the names.
Damn it. My stupid virus detector is going off. You don't hear that, do you?
No.
Okay, that's
kind of a virus detector on your computer.
Yeah, I don't know why. Every once in a while, the stupid thing kicks off and I can't stop it. And you're this annoying beep on my computer telling me that, Norton update my Norton. It's so stupid. Sorry.
Maybe it's the Sanford Maynards trying to hack into the show. Perhaps they don't like the way we're talking about them for this episode,
Maybe.
Perhaps they're a little upset about their loss, but
Maybe.
Overall, it was. I mean, the Mariners were probably the best team going into the playoffs. I would say.
It feels that way. Yeah.
Statistically, and the Gulls only got to play them, I believe, twice. You play them once away and once home. They're out of the division team, right? They didn't get to see them that often. I felt like this season, and I'd have to just go back to check, that they played well against teams out of the division, way better than teams in the division.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the games I've seen live, especially the against the Navigators and all that stuff, they struggled a bit with teams that kind of knew what they were up to and how they worked. So
like he was saying, they struggled against Lynn a few times that you saw him or we saw them. Yeah.
But overall, it's I'm curious how these guys take this going into the baseball season next year. Like it's like weird because you don't play baseball in the fall. You have to wait until I mean until basically the spring before college baseball season starts, which is crazy.
It's crazy. Summer's almost over. It's very
I
sad.
know. We are weeks away. Once it's like officially once the NECBL league is over, you're weeks away till Labor Day. And then
Yeah,
it's all gone. We're done.
it's true.
But we will we'll have a few more episodes for the season before we take our hiatus until next year goes around. But we're gonna try to get some of these players on the team on the show. I've been reaching out to a few of them, waiting to hear back on a couple of them that we can get just some insight, some of the big guys that we talked about all season long, and kind of get their perspective of how they think the season went and what did they learn and what they could, think they could have done better to push the season a little bit better. And I think that's about it that we have to
Yeah.
include world champions. I wish it's funny when you think about it. We go into the season, they won last year, and the prospect of winning back to back is difficult because you have different players on every team, different rosters, different lineups that changes throughout the season as well. So it's not like you knew what you were gonna get, right? All you have is a good rep and reputation in the league, knowing that you already won, so you have the potential to win again. Also, like I always said, the location of this team playing in the summertime in New England is probably one of the best ones, I would
Yeah.
say. Living in Newport for 2 months long is in the prime of the summer is probably out of all the teams the best situation you could probably be in.
Yeah. I mean, you must
And
have a good coach too. I mean, that has to play a part of it. I mean, the
oh,
coaching has
absolutely,
to be.
you got to figure, you know, you got to be able to take to coach these guys. You have to be able to evaluate them very quickly and
Yeah.
know exactly their capabilities, their how much they could reach, how much they could do for you, like on a spit notice. You don't have, uh, you know, spring training or any of that nature to evaluate these players or even a week. I mean, these guys show up. You know what positions they play. You throw them in the field, and that's it. You probably have one scrimmage game against each other before the season starts, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it takes good quality coach. So coach did a great job getting this team to another championship. Uh, Ownership of the team did a great job recruiting these guys, getting them all together. Hopefully, we see a lot of these guys back next year. I can't imagine why not. They wouldn't want to come back and play for a team like this, especially if coach is coming back and all that good stuff. But we like to reach out and hopefully talk to these guys. That's the goal. So we're gonna do that, and then that'll be the season for us for the podcast.
Sounds good, my friend.
Is there anything else you want to add? Anything
No,
you want
sir.
to before?
No, sir.
All right.
Ready to
So that'll be
wrap this up.
the end of our evaluation for the season. Next week we'll just go into some plays, some notes, and stuff like that. And the idea is to probably extend the podcast longer if we get some of the players to come on to talk to. And if not, then
Just
then
let's
that'll
make
be
it
it.
shorter,
So
like once a month or something.
yeah, we could kind of condense it a
Yeah.
little bit to kind of get through to the season. So all of you's been watching all season long. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Leave your comments and likes below. Adam, anything you want to conclude for the
No.
7-time world NECBL champions?
No, just I'm glad they pulled through. It's just a great thing. Another championship,
Yeah,
another banner. That's all I
that's
got.
right. And congratulations to the Gulls for their championship. Hell of a season. Well done. And let's do it again next year. All right. Sounds like a plan. All right. Until then, we'll see you guys next week on the Gulls Nest. I'm Odd 84. This is Adam the Mallett. And keep on hitting, I guess.
Good.
All
Later.
right. See you guys later. Bye.